Welcome to Queener Lax, Lax and Poetic. I'm your host, Bryce Queener. We're going to talk all things lax on this show with some of the greatest personalities in the sport. Be sure to check out our sponsor, QueenerLax.com, for swag, camps, and clinics. Got questions? Want to hear something? Get in our DMs at QueenerLax. Hey, thanks for listening. And remember, ABC, always be cradling. Okay, welcome everybody. Lax News Update featuring Sylvia Queener, head coach, Whittier College. We've talked before. She's an All-American. She's a theater major. She is my sister. Future mountain biking star in the making.
Yes.
The new mountain bike, right?
Yes, I got a new mountain bike. I can barely go up, what would they call it? Like the equivalent of skiing, the bunny slope. Can barely go up the bunny slope hill.
It's challenging. It's harder than
hard.
people think. Yeah, and it doesn't get a lot easier. That's the one thing I learned from mountain biking about 6 months straight now. It's very challenging. It does not get easier. It's why it's fun.
Could you tell us a little bit about your mountain bike and what their name is?
I have a Yeti. It's made here in Golden. I guess originally, well, close to me. I'm in Denver. I'd like to be in Golden if I could, closer to the mountains. Originally, they were made in Durango, Colorado.
Ooh.
Shout out Julie Decker, used to live down there. Penyan coach, part of the family coaching tree we got going. Penyan family. So, got a Yeti now. I named him the Yeti Ganner. I like a little alliteration. So Penyan, the Yeti Ganner. It's a great bike. It's doing me well. What's the name of your bike?
My bike's name is Sequoia LaQueen, also known as Thunder, because you hear me when I'm coming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Is it loud? The tires are loud or what?
It's loud. And
Yeah.
I'm loud because I'm panting because I'm so out of breath.
Well, that's a good thing. It's dangerous out there. You got to wear your helmet. You need to tell people when you're passing, hey, there's one or two more bikers with me, a lot of stuff. But hey, let's get the people want to hear about
Get
Lax.
into the show.
I know you're the first ever two-time guest. We'll have more in the future, but you won that award so far. First news update.
Go me.
Yeah. Then we got the World Lacrosse announced the 6-on-6 discipline. First rules have been okayed, approved, right?
Approved. Yeah.
I don't know what this means. We're just going to be, I'm delving into the rule book. I'm trying to read press releases. I do know this. The turkey shoot, Mark Wenham, Lynn Reinbach runs the Goblin games on the girls' side. Ithaca, New York, 7-on-7 on guys was the original. My most fun memories playing lacrosse, either Penyan box rink, Penyan indoors in the middle school in the gym. Speed lacrosse, 3x, turkey shoot, all in there. I love this version of up and down, fast-paced game. It's exciting that we're trying to move the sport forward, I guess, and do this. I know there's a lot of purists out there that don't like it. We're trying to stay as positive as we can on the show. I know we saw it last year at the convention, RIP, that we didn't get to do this year, which would be this week, right? We'd be down there right now.
Oh my gosh, would it, or was it last week? Yeah, right, or about now.
About this time frame. How much fun was that?
So fun. So fun. I'm so sad that we didn't have convention, but I mean, I want to agree with you too, just because growing up, my fondest memories of playing was probably in the backyard. It was winter gym sessions that mom and dad would run at the middle school. And it would be 6-on-6 for us. So same type of rules in a gym. And then also the Goblin games. That was the most fun tournament. So again, staying positive. I've played it in that form and I know it can be great. I know it can. I did watch the entire game at President's Cup. It was the WPLL, the All-Stars versus the U.S. lacrosse team. I thought it was good, but I think they need time to figure out what works. I think what I had noticed when I watched is they didn't really have like X covered very well. Like I think they could try to put 3 up top, 2 behind, and instead they kind of had 1 behind, or at one portion they only had no one behind. So I just thought it was kind of clogged. When you have too many stacked up top, it gets clogged. And then I think some defenses played zone pretty quickly. So But what was really exciting to me was like Alice Mercer scored, Meg Dowdy, I believe, scored. And it's kind of fun watching that transition and watching defenders be able to show their offensive skills too. So you kind of get that excitement.
Well, I talk all the time when you get to that level, elite lacrosse, typically the defenders
Our middies
were great middies before.
Right.
And attackers can't play defense. I'm gonna pick on you a little bit. You're an attacker.
Oh, for sure.
So we can't put you down on D. So you gotta play. So that stuff's cool. I know there's some big questions on it, like in the guys' game. What are you gonna do with the long pole?
Right.
So we were supposed to play it at Lake Placid a few years ago. I didn't end up making the game. It got lightning delayed, and some guys played in it. Said it was pretty fun. I sat it out. We were trying to win a championship, so it didn't fit in my load management of that day.
Gotta take care of your body. It's your temple.
When you're getting older. I went vegan that year. It helped, but I still, I didn't have, playing 2 divisions, 30 up, 35 and up, stuff. But what do you do with long pole guys? And then women's shooting space?
Shooting space?
I don't know what they're doing with shooting space. At President's Cup, it seemed like they just kind of like, let's just not deal with it. I just couldn't figure out, because like you said, I tried to read the rule book today. I couldn't really find it. I'm sure it's in there. But if they go zone, it kind of gets tricky. But one of the neat things about pro lacrosse is nobody practices. So when they just throw these games out there, when people start trying to practice and come up with ways to beat it. But I love faster versions of the game, more touches, more reps. I know they said 5 seconds to clear. That could get interesting. Fast. That's fast.
I was saying, I think I texted you immediately and I was like, whoa. Like sometimes it just takes 5 seconds to find the ball in the goal. So I think that puts a lot of pressure on the goalie to get under control. So I don't know if they're going to also have like a ref. I've always said refs should have balls to just make our game quicker. It'd just be so much better if they had like a freaking ball in their pocket.
Well, that's how you ref speed lacrosse. You always have one.
I chuck the balls in.
Yeah.
So in terms of efficiency, I wish that would be the case. But yeah, I'm still also confused a little bit with rules, and I have not delved into it because it's a monster of a homework assignment to read rules.
Yeah, there was a lot in there. It was like they put a lot on. There was the ref stuff. I mean, it took me forever to get to a player rule. It was like uniform.
Right. I'm trying to learn also the AU sports, and I'm trying to understand that with the point system still. But what I want to say in the last part for this to keep it positive is, and I am very excited about this. I'm excited no matter what the form is that lacrosse will be seen on the biggest stage. I think that's life. You got to make compromises. You got to make things work. And I'm so excited. And I think even 6-on-6 is a pure form of the sport. Small sided games are.
Well, because that's why they're doing this, right? Fun. They're doing this to make it be in the Olympics.
Yeah. I think that's the goal. And to also make it, I don't know if it's to make it marketable or palatable, or like also to, if there's training sessions extended with that, to make kind of the men's and women's sides more aligned, and if that's a part of it as well.
Sure. Okay. Well, a lot of questions. We like playing this form of the game, so I know it's interesting. And a lot of people working hard on it. So good job there. World Lacrosse, I think they're called. Used to be FIL, I believe. Hard to keep up, and we're in the game. Hard to keep up, and we're in the game. Number 2 topic, news update. US Lax magazine. I like their website. They got good content. The importance, there's an article on there this week, the importance of the athlete mindset. And this is something that elite athletes talk about all the time. Just generally, the article is like, athletes work on their physical all the time, but they got to work on their mental. And we talked about mental health before last time you were on. It's not a mental health topic, which that's a huge topic, but this one's just basically like, how do we focus the mind to be stronger in playing? And I know that one of the things that I've always stressed is how do you get to compete and have that competitive mindset, but also still be a good sport, which is a challenge. And that's what sports is really supposed to teach you, I think, at the end of the day. But really good read there. Did you get a chance to read it?
Yeah. So is this one like the takeaways from the US Lacrosse Athlete Mindset series? Yeah, I read that and I just thought, wow, this is amazing. So they had 8 webinars on Thursdays from September to November. And I think you can go to that website and watch and replay each webinar. I'm honestly going to go back and maybe watch some for my own players. For myself, I think you're never too old to learn. And kind of what you were saying too, this is about building a strong mindset, building tools to help you succeed and have a good outlook. And I do think like if you're doing that, it does correlate and your mental health will be better for it. So it's actually really cool. It's kind of just building those positive skills. So I think it's awesome. Shout out to US Lacrosse for doing that. I think that's such an important series.
Another read they had on the US Lax Mag website, 5 easy ways to practice gratitude. I think this was more geared to youth sports. I loved it because the one kind of thing I wanted more out of the mindset article was like, give me some real practical ways to apply this. And then the next article I read did. So this one was like, talking about understand process versus outcome, rewrite your self-talk, make a cue card, ask the right questions, start a gratitude board in your locker room. And COVID now, locker rooms aren't really things. So I was thinking about this and I'm like, oh, maybe we should have a gratitude board. And I'm like, wait, we do this after practice every day. Liza has the team come in and we basically, it doesn't always have to be positive, but most times it is, the ability to have gratitude and talk about what things happened during practice and what they liked. I know you probably do some things like this with your team. Did any of this resonate with you?
Yeah. And I love this. And again, I think this was great too, because I also just like tools. Okay. So like you want me to do something great. How do I do it? I think that's a lot of athletes. They're like, okay, we can talk about having a good mindset, but how do I do it? And this article really went through that. And these are tangible tips to really kind of have a better mindset. So it was great. And yeah, I do a lot of topics like this. I think the first one, which was understanding process versus outcome. I think that one's really hard. And what that comes down to is having patience and being okay that, everything takes time and life it's a lifelong process of learning. And I do something too where I talk about I want my team and I want myself to dig in as opposed to digging out. So that's kind of how I talk about process versus outcome. But I absolutely loved it. I could talk all day about that. I'm going to do a couple
there
of
is
these.
a lot of good stuff here. And as you talk process versus outcome, I could probably talk Lax Poetic on this for an hour, but I was just thinking as you were talking about it, I've been fortunate in my life to be a part of a lot of winning programs, but
Yeah.
and we'll talk about this later in the coaching tip. I've also been on some programs that haven't done great. And I'll just use a Pro Lax team I played on just so people aren't trying to figure out what coach I'm talking about. Or what. 1 year we went to the finals and we were young. We had everybody back. And the next year we didn't. And really, we weren't process focused that year. We were already on the outcome. We already thought we were going to go to the finals. We already wanted more. Guys wanted bigger paychecks. So I heard guys starting to complain. The year before, they were talking about how great this is in the league. The next year, they're complaining about their salaries, their money, in pro lacrosse, but that's just it. The process.
It's a sign
lost.
that you're focusing on the outcome and not enjoying that process or digging in. It was just immediately wanting to get to the result without going through the steps.
And it's fascinating to me. Any losing group I've been a part of, you watch people, and I'm always like, why do you think we were going to win? We're not doing the things we need to do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. If we're playing on Thursday, Friday, let's say, you can't just want to, like, I can't stand the person that doesn't bring it at practice, but comes in and is like, game day, game day, game day. And you're like, whoa, we can't just turn it on today. And I guess that's process versus outcome. The game day coach kills me. They kill me. And get hyped about game day. I do get a little anxiety on game day, but if we prepared the right way, I don't. I think it was.
That's true. That's such a good point. If we prepared the right way, that those nerves are a little bit less because you're like, we did everything we were supposed to do. Now it's just like, let them have fun. Let them go do it.
Yeah. What do you think? Ask the right questions was an interesting 5 easy ways to practice gratitude. Ask the right questions was an interesting one. I'm trying to think of a question I would ask. Can you think of any? To practice gratitude is the point, I guess.
Yeah. So actually I do, this is, I think I mentioned this person last time. Her name's Betsy Butterick, the coach's coach. And so she's an intentional communicator, and she's really someone about asking the right questions. So kind of, I think we talked about this the first time it was on. where kind of open-ended questions, right? And I even like I was just attended a seminar and kind of a panel talk with Z Cares, and they're an organization that works on standing up to anxiety. So it was related to mental health, and there was a doctor on there, and she just talked about at the end of the day, and it was practicing gratitude. Ask your kids or ask yourself what went right that day. Not like what did you enjoy, not like what went wrong, it was just what went right. And you start to learn about practicing like, oh, I woke up and my alarm went off, something small like that. And you start like, that's asking the right question.
2 Chainz. I love quoting 2 Chainz, Division I basketball player, great rapper. He says, if you woke up today, you already winning.
Yeah.
I try to remember that. That goes to the other one called Rewrite Self-Talk.
Right.
This is one, John Gordon's big on this, and I use it because I get real pissy when I'm playing. Guy on my team misses a pass he should have caught, right? And it kind of goes back to what I was just saying earlier. I'm like, man, I wish you would have tried harder a couple of days ago and you'd be better now. But I've tried to flip that script instead of being pissy or upset with my teammate. In my head, being like, all right, refocus, like, let's get a stop here, like one stop. And I'll even try to yell at the team, like, let's just get a stop. All we need is a stop. I do this a lot of 3-by instead of getting mad at the guy who just.
Well, that's, you like kind of had too, where it's like, you're not asking the right question. You're changing your self-talk, but you're also sharing the right comment. You're sharing the right mindset. So that's kind of building off of that. And I mean, it's so true too, where it's just like asking. I also think sometimes I steer away from positive or right, and more like ask helpful questions. Ask questions that are going to ignite reflection, where it's like, you know, can you go through what really went well, or like when your team was winning, why were they winning? What was going on? What was happening? And then they can start analyzing why things were going well. And I think a lot of it was about that. We oftentimes analyze why things aren't good. And oftentimes we forget to analyze why they are. Like with your PL, you know, your pro team that you're mentioning, it would have been cool that next year to figure out, why did we make it to the championship game? What were we doing? And how can we do that again?
Well, and like we said, this article provides a lot of tangible things. It gives you some real good things to try. The last thing I'll say is, and I say this with teams I coach all the time, in lacrosse, there's no way to be perfect. There's so many plays all game. And we try to get our kids to realize how many great plays they make, because they do. They make beautiful ones all the time. And they tend to focus on, or try to get them not to focus on the few mistakes they had, or a couple mistakes they had. Okay, moving on. Upstate update. Gotta get the Upstate in there. Dan Whitmer. I mean, it basically going to become the Dan Whitmer update. Basically, I go to justlacrosse.com for those of you just new to the website or the show to get my Upstate news. And his articles, Road Trip Dad, I think they're called, have been my favorite, because basically they're all been about Upstate kids committing, which we're so proud of. They're going everywhere like they always do. They're going to lacrosse. But he's had some good content lately. So last week we talked about the greatest places that he thought to play. So he came up with least favorite this week, and I came up with my list. I actually shared it with Dad this morning. He agreed with a lot of them. He's excited about it. First one, Bloomfield, just not a good place to play. Bad team, no good memories. Second one, Naz, lower turf field, the up top grass field, which you won sectional championships at. Mom did, Sarah did, I did, Brett did, Dad did. I love that field. The lower turf field. Did you ever play there?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Don't like it. Not
don't
a good
like
field.
it.
We had Empire Trouts there. A lot of just turf burn memories.
We did camp there. We did a team camp, and I got so many turf burns.
You went to Naz team camp?
Yeah.
We never did. Next one, Hobart. The Boz was on the top fields. The McCooey field, the AstroTurf they built, terrible field. You probably played
terrible.
there.
Played there.
Terrible.
Played against Geneva there. Terrible. Again, a lot of turf burn.
A lot of turf burn. I mean, it was always windy and cold there, and it felt like you were running quicksand. McCooey field, terrible field.
No one could find it, so there was no fans at those games for me.
Yeah, and they'd always be like, "Why are you not playing at the Boz? It's right here. It's a better field." That was just a disaster by Hobart. Figure it out. Canandaigua, new high school field. Hated it.
Hate
It's like
it.
a wind tunnel.
What was the field that we like? What's that one
Evans
called?
Field. That made my top field
Evans
list.
Field.
Yeah. Evans Field's beautiful. I mean, it's like
Beautiful.
it's like Augusta with the green. I mean, it's like the
Won our
beautiful
first.
grass.
The only time I played on it, we won the Finger Lakes title. And we had
Tough title
shirts
to win.
on. It was amazing. We had shirts on under our jerseys, and we all threw off our jerseys after we won, and we had shirts that we made that said Finger Lakes champs
Oh wow, that's pretty cocky.
on Evans Field. It was really cocky.
What year was that?
That was when Dad was coaching. That was 2004.
Wow. Okay.
And then after that, we played at the new one, and I just didn't like it. The field
No.
had a weird bounce. It bounced way too high.
It's not a great field. It's why it's on the least favorite list. Victor never liked. We played up top there. I guess now they play at the football field. I haven't been there in years. I asked Dad today. The up top field, never liked it. Webster, they had this like baby field. It was a shorter field and it was dirt. Behind a middle school, they kicked our butt there. I was actually a ball boy with Brett, but they kicked our butt one year. I never lost to Webster, I don't think, but don't like it there.
Never played Webster.
You never played Webster?
Never played Webster. No.
Far bus ride. Would you even know how to get there?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Do you know what?
I know it's on a map. I know where it is on a map now, just when I look on Zillow.
Yeah. Use Zillow Rochester.
Place in Rochester, just checking out the homes.
It's fun to maybe
Upstate.
go home today. Interesting one I had here. Corning East parking lot field. I had to play there in 8th grade, and I was a ball boy. This was our first scrimmage that we had every year, and it was intentional. We knew their grass field wouldn't be playable. Nobody's fields were playable. Nobody had turf back then. So we would scrimmage, and it was these old school scrimmages where you play 6-on-6, then you do man up, man down.
We did that too. We did that with Corning East at Penny Inn, but
you did, yeah. And like they practiced
practices.
Yeah. Coaches would stop it, and it was like I had such anxiety as an 8th grader playing against 12th graders. I didn't want to go down there, and so don't like that field. And West Jenny, just shout out, they lined their parking lot, and Dad and everybody used to be jealous to be like, West Jenny's got lines in their parking lot. The first turf field, the parking lot, upstate New York. I also had on here the Corning East box. I never liked playing.
Horrible.
Did you play in there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the street and love the street and family.
Love them.
Great people. Done a lot for lacrosse. But just
did not like that facility.
No fond memories.
It was really hard. It was not a good surface.
Did you have you got indoor facility manliest, I think you said?
Mine is just because I broke my ankle.
Oh, I remember you came home. I was home. Yeah.
I just don't, I never, I would have much rather play in a gym than go to like an indoor facility where they like do, soccer and things like that. And like, it's smaller and it just had a weird smell to it.
Yeah.
And we went at odd times and I never enjoyed playing there. I didn't like who we played, never had fond memories there. So I did not like the indoor facility in Manlius.
Terrible.
Hated it.
I'm going to go ahead and add the second Penny Inn box. We've had 3. So the first one's amazing. The second one came in 2001, and I ended up hurting my knee there in a pickup football game. You got hurt there. It's just not a good. We got it from Rochester.
It always had issues, and there was level problems, and I definitely hurt my knees a lot there. I think that was a big part of us getting hurt.
Didn't love it. Just didn't love that field. The
new one is extraordinary.
Anywhere else? I think you said Newark, maybe.
Yeah, so we would play Newark, and like I always remember going to Newark football games, and like you played there, and it had a great stadium, super fun. So like I always thought we would play on that field, and we might have maybe when I was older, but we would get off the bus, see the beautiful field, and then we'd go on this path. And it reminded me of like the beginning of Elf, but with a bad ending where like you're passing the candy canes, you go through like, the lake of chocolate. And then all of a sudden we end up, bless you, Scott. We end up at this little tiny field in the middle of nowhere. And that's where we played. And I also got a really bad concussion. Someone just like goosed me right here. And my whole head was like, it was like this swollen. It was hysterical. So that was another field I didn't like.
Now, because that was a thing back then, and I think now it's changing. but all the women's teams or girls teams in high school had a separate, like, go to your field.
It's like go hide over there. You're banished to the backfield. And some of it was fun, where it was just like an adventure.
Was
but I
neat.
think
You get your own spot. Yeah.
Looking back, I was like, why can't we just play on, like, we're not going to dig up the field with our cleats. I didn't even wear cleats, which is another story, but that was always the argument, like, oh, don't want to mess up the football field. And it's like, you think we're going to mess up the football field?
They just didn't want to share, right? And it was just the chauvinistic, like, we don't, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. So I was coaching in Texas a few years ago, and I was dealing with the whole, like, treat women's lacrosse different than every other sport thing. And I walked by the softball field and it just went off. Like, I'm telling you, hit me like a ton of bricks. I think I called you. I'm like, this is why softball made a whole different field and different rules, because they don't even have to deal with the men's coaches and sports. I mean, we were playing in Texas. There was 4 grass fields, and we had to rotate our field based on which one the men's lacrosse team tore up the day before.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, yeah, it was like
being
in the 1920s.
Could you even imagine if baseball, both men and women's played baseball and they had to share a field like men and women's lacrosse have to do? Would never happen. It just would not
share
happen.
Anything. They can't share anything. I mean, we're trying to keep positive, like we said. We're trying to keep it.
Listen, the truth though is it's good to be real, and then, like, hey, we're growing, and we're getting better. We're working together. I love it because it's like I have a positive outlook on it, but you got to call out the BS sometimes.
Well, I mean, we could do a whole separate show. We could do a whole separate show on this, because I had no idea before I got into women's sports. I mean, it is out of control. There is no such thing as level playing field at a lot of places. I do
have a question for you to end on a positive, because you like to end it on positives. Sure. Where was your favorite place to play in college, an away game?
I mean, it probably had to be the Carrier Dome. We played in LA my senior year. We played Syracuse out in LA, and that was really cool. I think it was the first time I ever went to California. And my buddy Matt Wilson, shout out Wills, he's up coaching in Detroit at the Cranbrook School. He burned me a Grateful Dead CD because I was trying to get in more into the Dead and Fire on the Mountain. I played on repeat that whole trip on the bus. And we kept getting sunsets over the mountain, and people don't realize how many mountains are in California. So that was that was probably my favorite trip. I'm trying to think somewhere else cool. I'll tell you, least favorite place to play by far, UMass. Garber Field, they had the Garber Gorillas, they call them, the fans. They would go nuts. They had AstroTurf. I hate playing on AstroTurf. Only time in my career, I'm pretty sure I ever got benched. I got healthy scratched in pro, but I got benched. They had a really good team. Long story short, you guys were at the game. You were at the game. I got benched. The whole family came down.
Oh, God.
You were there. Brett was there. I don't think Sarah was there. Mom and Dad were there. Least favorite place to play.
It's so funny when you talk about it, your memory, though. You can remember that. I don't even remember that, but because of that.
You don't remember being there? I was embarrassed. Oh. Yeah. Coach Renzo looked at me and he's like, "What's wrong with you?" Like Chris Fiore, he was up for like mid of the year. He took the ball away from me on this bang bang play. Like we had to play a lot of defense, and I was just tired. I wasn't in good shape at the point. I think that was the year I actually hurt my knee, but they kept telling me I had tendonitis. So I was trying to run through this knee that I had 2 surgeons be like, "What? How did you even walk on this thing after?" But yeah, where's your favorite place to play in college? Any fields that you thought were great? I saw you score a goal in the Carrier Dome.
Yeah, that was definitely the favorite place to play, and I always wanted to play there. I remember you played in the Carrier Dome when you were in high school for football. And it was my birthday. It was September 4th, and my birthday present was that I got to be the water girl for your football team.
Oh, I forgot about that. It was a good game.
And it was so fun. I remember, too, it was like a whole trip. We went to like the zoo in the area before, hung out with family, and then isn't that funny? No, just me. I had a birthday. I had a birthday weekend celebrating things, and then so I think because I was so young and I was in there and just looking up at the lights, and I thought you were so cool. You were such a good running back, and I was like, one day I'm gonna play here. And my first collegiate goal was in the Carrier Dome.
That was your first goal. It was a bouncer, high bouncer.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
You
fun
went in the
when
game. You went in the game, ripped the goal, and came right out. I was
then
sitting
got
there.
pulled out.
I was sitting there watching. I was coaching the Bales. I'm like, I know I'm biased because it's my sister, and I've seen you. You'd won a gold medal in Empires at that point, All American, won state championship. I'd seen you score all the time, and I'm like, well, she's a freshman. Maybe she's not going to play a lot. You go in, you score right away, and then you came out. I don't think you went back in.
I didn't know.
But you got the goal. You got the goal.
I got the goal. That was so exciting. But earlier in the game, I did play, and I had an 8-meter, and there was someone open on the doorstep, on the left doorstep, and I always passed the ball. But I really, selfishly wanted to get my first goal.
Yeah.
And Liz Hogan was the goalie for Syracuse. I played against her when she was at Victor. I was like, oh, I got to take a shot, but I should have passed it. And I got pulled out after that too, which was probably the right call. I should have passed it, but that, it's amazing what we can remember
right
in games. So that was my favorite place. And then I would say that same year, my least favorite place that we played was Cornell, only because it snowed and there was about 7 inches of snow on the field. It was like we were basically ice skating. They finally called the game, but it was just so comical that like all the type of weather we play through, it's not even like you get to play the full game sometimes of lacrosse.
I might hate Sholkoff too from a playing standpoint. Like we lost to Mikey Powell and Cuse, and they won the national championship.
That was bad.
There, yeah. And then watching Sarah play there was one of the coldest games I've ever seen when she was at Yale. It's just it's pretty, but it's
beautiful.
Never. Yeah,
I have bad memories.
Maybe if they could host some June games there or July somehow. Because it's just, I would never want to play there. When kids commit there, I'm shocked. I'm like, have you seen the weather?
Have you seen the hills?
Yeah. Have you
Same
walked
with Colgate.
those hills?
I'm just all
like, Colgate, come on. Like, yeah.
That's how I get.
We're trying to keep positive. Yeah.
That's the truth though. And they're beautiful. I mean, Cornell is one of the most, it's a beautiful place. I love Ithaca. Ithaca is amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
No comment on Colgate.
Love to visit. It's like when Upstate jobs come open and people always blow me up and they're like, you coming home? And I'm like,
love to visit.
What? I go there in the summer. Okay. Coaches.
Next topic.
Yeah. Love Upstate. Love it.
Love Upstate.
Don't want to live there.
Should we go over what Upstate is? Because people seem to be confused.
No, don't have enough time.
Don't have enough time.
No.
All right. The next to last topic is coaches coaching tips. And I know Coach Queener, Coach Q, you got a lot of tips on this one. You've been so many places, you've had a lot of experiences, and you've only gotten better from all of them. Could you talk about that?
Sure. I think the number one question I get from younger coaches are how do I get to a top program? Right. And they're like, how do I get to a Syracuse? How do I get to a Denver? How do I get there? And I'm like, you got to be willing to take some jobs that other people wouldn't take. I was lucky to have coaches as parents. I was lucky to get a Division I coaching assistant job my first year out of college, and play pro. But I'll tell you when looking back, I think from going to Division I assistant, I don't know how much I learned because, I learned a good amount, but it was kind of the same thing I've been doing. And then going to the Hill Academy was a huge learning curve for me, being in a different country, teaching, spending more time with the kids. But then I think even more going to Rhodes and starting a program in the South, small college in Memphis, Tennessee. That challenged me even more, having to deal with more people and different things. So just getting outside your comfort zone. I think I hear so many coaches say that to kids, but I look back at them, I'm like, wow, you ought to try the same thing. And that's even coaching youth, like go coach youth. I've heard so many high level coaches say like, I don't like coaching little kids. And you're like, well, it's coaching. So, and I know I've seen you do some of your best work with little kids, and I've taken so many things away from you when you coach kids, and you have to figure out how to say things differently and do things differently.
Yeah.
So yeah, just trying to not say you're too big for a certain job, because you'll get so much more out of that job than you could ever imagine. And then you don't know where you end up. What do you have to add on that?
It's just so true. I think, just like you, it's like I've been a part of, as a player, so many winning programs. As a coach, the first time when I went out with Sarah and making the NCAA tournament every year and making the Sweet 16 twice. And the truth is the most I've learned as a coach is at Whittier. with primarily losing records. I've learned way more as a coach. I've learned way more as a person in a place that I didn't think when I, initially thought I didn't think I'd learn as much. And so it's always like, when you were talking, I was thinking oftentimes, when I'm looking for advice or I'm like, how do I coach D1 or how do I do this? I want a linear path.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know the steps and I want it to be very clear. But just like we're trying to teach our players and, teach youth it's a process and it's probably not linear and you're probably going to bounce all around. Look at you. It's like you have a map of everywhere you've coached. Not everyone's going to look the same. And it's just enjoying that process as much as you can and just making sure you're being your authentic self. So yeah, I think it's so good to also give free clinics to do different age groups, go to different areas. I've had some of my most fun doing free clinics at different LA parks. That has been the most fun and it's been the most challenging because none of them know how to play lacrosse.
Right. I mean, that's where we kind of came up with Cradles of the World at different camps where kids aren't as skilled. We're going to debut that next week. All the people are going to ask me about that.
Yeah. That was off the cuff, right? You had to improv or you just came up with it, right? When you were doing a camp?
Yeah, I think we were together. And it was just one of those camps where I think 90% of the kids had never played before or at such a beginner level. And then we're doing things that pro players do. And you're like kind of tying it all together and really good stuff there. Okay, let's finish up the show. We're getting towards the end here. What do we got? We got the You Look Like a D-pole segment and the Big Stick Energy, which we debuted last time you were on the show. I think probably 8-9 years ago, I said, I want to make a t-shirt that says you look like a D-pole. I haven't done it.
It's really funny. It's pretty funny. No offense to D-poles, but it's the play on words, man. It's so funny.
It's a play on word. They have a different look, some of them. I said it, we were out at a restaurant. I said about a guy, I'm like, he just looks like a defenseman. And the person I was with was like, what does that mean? I'm like, well, he's not that skilled, but he could probably hit me pretty good. So you give that guy a D-pole, he'd be dangerous, but he probably can't play attack. And he also didn't look that friendly. So that's kind of why I said it. So, but the Big Stick Energy is your thing. Are we swapping this week on that? I'm taking.
Yeah, I think it'd be great. If you have an idea for like a Big Stick Energy of the day of the week, anything that's just like really exciting.
Well, I tweeted it. Follow me on Twitter at Coach Q88. Sylvia's at the Drama Queener. Colorado, coolest place in the world. Didn't think it'd get any cooler, and we did. Big Stick Energy. Shout out to In-N-Out. One of the only things I miss of California, living here, and now we have it. It opened up today in Aurora and Colorado Springs. We got 2 locations. I heard they built a distribution center here. I'm not necessarily sure, but someone told me that. Bobo told me that. And I think we'll have a lot more locations. I'm going to go tomorrow probably. I didn't want to go today and face the big lines, but pretty excited. What's your go-to In-N-Out order?
My go-to In-N-Out order is I get a double meat, so no cheese, protein style. I get rid of the spread. I add extra pickles and I get grilled onions. What's your go-to?
I do double. I'd love to get the animal fries. I love them. I think they're great, but sometimes I feel it's just a little too gluttonous after it. Sarah goes with like the 3x2, right? Our older sister, Sarah.
She used to, yeah.
probably the winning order, because when I get the double, I immediately want another one.
Right.
One of those places where I just didn't believe the hype at first, and now I don't eat meat much. I'm a cowboy vegan, which means I'm about 90% vegan, 80% depending on the week. Really bothers people, the cowboy vegan diet. I love it. What's your you look like a D-pole moment of the week?
Oh, I mean, just undoubtedly unrivaled. Everyone would agree with this moment in history. You look like a D-pole moment is the Twitter update and the fleeting. Just stop trying to be something you're not. Stop it. And then Twitter hilariously said, you guys are you criticizing, but we see you fleeting. No, you see us doing story updates because that's what it is. So don't try to call it something new. I get it. They're being clever, fleeting. It's there and then it's gone. Like feelings are fleeting. Your stories are fleeting. Oh, how creative. No, give me back Twitter. Give me back Twitter.
Twitter's not
I'm
Instagram.
very upset.
Twitter's
It's
not
not
Instagram.
Instagram. It's
Oh,
not Facebook.
no.
Can everyone stop merging things and stop sometimes things are just great. Sometimes they don't need improvements. Those are called just anomalies in life. And I felt like Twitter was that place for me where it was just wonderful for how it was. And it was just a beautiful thing during the pandemic and having this community. And now I can't even find my Twitter lacrosse community on there anymore.
I feel bad when I even click the fleets. I've clicked a couple. I mean, I
usually click that to get to my own profile. And now they're tricking me. I don't like it.
It's not good.
I'll get used to it, but I don't want to get used to it. And you know what? You can't be positive about the update because it's not better. That's the truth.
Hey,
it's not better.
So every once in a while we get the vent. We've had a few venting moments on the show, but snow update, not on the list, but we've been doing that. We're skiing. We were going to Vail on Sunday. Went a couple days. They've been, some places have done a good job with the masks. Actually, most have. And so hopefully we keep that going. It's unbelievable. I can't believe how much fun it is. This place is outstanding. Anything to add before we take off?
Really exciting. I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
That's coming up. Happy Thanksgiving. I think that's a great time. If anyone's listening, to start practicing those 5 tangible goals to be more grateful, to have more gratitude, and to work to better your mental health, because they do go hand in hand. And I think oftentimes it's easy to focus on what's not going well, what's crappy. And I think there is so much good. So I'm thankful for you, Bryce. I'm thankful for your humor, your candor, and your love for the outdoors. Please keep sharing your pictures and your love for Colorado and Upstate.
Well, thanks. I love your purple hat.
Thank you.
Nice hat. If you're not
Donna made it.
It's on the YouTube channel if you want to check that out. And who made it?
My grandma-in-law. This is a Donna original. She is 92 years old and she's making me custom hats.
Well, put an order in for me. I'd like a PY orange and blue one. Well, thanks for coming on. Lax News Update with Sylvia Queener, head coach, Whittier College, All-American theater major, big time, important person.
Big fan of turquoise. Big fan of turquoise.
All right. Love yourself.
Love you too.